Brett, who is your garbage person of the week?
Okay, my garbage person of the week is Trump's press secretary Karoline Leavitt, who thought she'd gotten rid of everyone who would potentially ask her a real question in the press room. And much to her surprise, the person who ended up kind of dunking on her was Fox News host Steve Doocy. Take a look.
But so the courts are basically telling you guys they think that the White House's policies, the president's policies, are in some way against the law. So why can't President Trump ask the Republicans that control the House and the Republicans that control the Senate just to make a new law?
She got served, man. The fact that the biggest moron in the press room is like, sounds like you're going against the Constitution and you have the power to kind of pass laws as long as they're popular enough for the people in the Congress to kind of go along with it. Why don't you just pass laws since you're in charge? And she's like, oh no, I have to answer that question. Now, before you give him too much credit, he did kind of show up, and he knows that he has to kiss some rings before he sidelong potentially could be considered to be challenging authority. So here's the mealy-mouthed BS thing he started with to butter her up.
Thank you, Karoline. So many of the president's plans right now are being blocked by courts. If the courts are going to be the ones who are shaping policy, does the president wish he would have just become a judge instead?
He hired the judges, and he hired judges that he thought would go along with him. The judges did not go along with him because he's crazy. Because he's doing stuff that is wildly not American, as we have all kind of accepted American to mean. Now, what did she say when faced with any resistance in the press room? Here's her answer to why doesn't he just, pass a law like presidents are supposed to?
Well, these laws have already been granted to the president by the Constitution and by laws that have been previously passed. I'll give you another example. For instance, we've been blocked in court for the revocation of visas from individuals who have the privilege of studying in the United States of America. Secretary of State Rubio has simply used his authority to revoke those visas, to revoke that privilege, and we've seen the courts try to block that. So if these judges want to be the Secretary of State or they want to be the president, they can run for office themselves. It should be the other way around. But all of the actions the president has taken rely on legal authorities that have already been granted to him by our nation's existing laws.
So says you doink. But you know who so says not? The Supreme Court of the United States. As evidenced in the single graphic for this segment, Supreme Court rules against Trump administration in Alien Enemies Act case. They have ruled against him. If they don't step in to defend him, that means they're cool with the previous court that blocked him. And that is happening, has happened, will continue to happen, so long as Trump continues to flout congressional and constitutional limits. Yeah, morons. I don't know, John, what do you think of all that stuff?
Yeah, the thing that she's referring to with Marco Rubio is the thing where if there's a person whose actions are so terrible that they're harming American foreign policy, their visa can be revoked. He's revoking visas for people writing an op-ed that nobody had seen until the visa was revoked. Literally no one had read. So again, what's the point of fact checking her? It's wild lies, wild hypocrisy. Doocy, who asked, I guess, a good question, his thing of I guess they're responsible for policy now. Again, did any of these Republicans ever stand up for the power of the presidency, the power of the executive branch? 4 years Joe Biden was president when courts were regularly striking things down that he had ruled. And by the way, you might think, well, yeah, but you don't do it now. Well, earlier this week we were talking about the thing with the tariffs, and I was like, I think that they probably do have broad authority to regulate tariffs. There might be some threshold beyond which they can't. So you can be consistent, but the issue is, why would you ever be so stupid, such a dumb donkey as to be consistent on anything? There is no threshold of hypocrisy that will get people to be like, well, I generally like what you say, but you've gone too far and you seem inconsistent. That is just not a thing that exists anymore, and I'm so sick of it.
And I just appeal to two people. One, folks that like Trump, and I just say you go watch your favorite podcaster on this. Because even like the Joe Rogans of the world are like, that's wrong what Trump's doing. Andrew Schultz, he's wrong what Trump's doing. And those guys are not identical in their opinions generally. They have different opinions politically, historically, all that stuff. They both seem to be agreeing that Trump is overstepping. And if you like Trump and you know Trump, and the reason you like him is because you really get the guy, what's more likely? That he knows the constitutional frameworks and limits to his power and has concluded academically that he is in the right in this scenario, or that he just wants to do this totally insane thing and he's gonna lie till he gets it.
Yeah.
The latter seems on brand, but the first people I talked about, they think that that's a crazy thing to do. And obviously it is, because y'all are supposed to be the free speech folk.
Well, that was a good garbage person. I will say I had heard a rumor that you were gonna be talking about the Harry Potter casting news as part of your garbage person. Unfortunately not.